hire American, putting American workers first. I already said April 18, 2017, that memo, the executive order was signed by President Trump. So what they are trying to do here is how to increase the H-1B salary in such a higher proportion so the American companies which are using H-1B workers will be de-incentivized, and then they are going to start to hire American workers. So that's the whole purpose of this executive order was there. But now, looking at this totality of the situation, what I see is they made a plan to use all the departments associated with the execution of the H-1B visa program. So you have DOL. Without a DOL LCA certification, you cannot file the H-1. So they activated the DOL also. And then the second is the Homeland Security. They also, this is all White House telling them how they need to move forward with this executive order. To enforce the executive order, how are you going to hire American? So how we can de-incentivize the H-1B workers or the whole population of the H-1B L1 or non-immigrant worker population and replace them with the US worker? So that was the question. In order to answer that question, seems like they requested the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, Department of Labor, and the US embassies and consulate. So everybody is in the same platform to monitor the situation, and then they're asking to each other what they can do to create more harassment to this program, or more problem to this problem, you see. So it's going to be an ongoing fiasco moving forward. You're going to have all these departments which are still in woodwork. They're going to come out of the woodwork and then ask you, when the guy is going to visa stamping, you'll have a problem in different angles at the embassy and consulates. Guy is trying to enter into the country, you're going to have a problem with the ICE people. And also, having said the ICE, the new regulation laws are already there, but the new policy of the ICE at the port of entry is to check everything: your computer, your phone, your social media account, your Twitter, Facebook, all this information they can check. So what they are interpreting is, because ICE is managing the custom also, Immigration and Custom Enforcement is the same office. So what they are saying is, look, if somebody is coming here, they are bringing goods. The goods can be checked. The iPhone and your computer is goods. So they need to check what is in. It's like a suitcase. What is inside the suitcase? So they want to see what is inside the phone. So in that pattern, everything is going to be scrutinized. While you are even coming in, your employee is coming in, if he's carrying a lot of information he shouldn't carry. Maybe he just get a cheap phone, temporary phone, and get a phone here. So a lot of records of whether it's a hard drive or phone or the computer is going to have a problem in entering into the country. Moving forward, gradually. This is a new thing. They're just testing it out, but it's going to become vicious down the road. So the angles are just too many to cover. So every area and every department which is dealing with this H-1B visa program is being asked to find a way to sort of tame it down, the whole visa program, whether it's a L1B, L1A, H1B, H2A, H2B. See, we just do H1B, but we also do H2A and H2B. So those visas are also similarly being attacked. It's not only H1B. Those also have a massive number of people coming on agriculture visa and as well as a seasonal worker. So those are also in trouble. So it's just a massive undertaking going on because of this memo, the executive order of the Buy America, Hire America. Having said that, now after he issued the executive order, now the first thing, this thing came up, let me see. This was the order in June. U.S. Secretary of Labor protects Americans, directs agencies to aggressively confront visa program fraud and abuse. So Trump said in April 18, he signed the executive order, and this is a DOL, U.S. Secretary of Labor protects Americans, directs agencies to aggressively confront visa program fraud and abuse. After a thorough review of U.S. Department of Labor's foreign worker visa programs, Secretary of Labor Alexander Acosta announced actions to increase protections of American workers while more aggressively confronting entities committing visa program fraud and abuse. So this is a direct result of the implementation of this program. So he came up with these different, prongs they want to enforce. So what they are doing, I'm going to summarize it here for you, directing the department's Ways and Hour Division, which is the DOL Ways and Hour, deals with the H-1B. Ways and Hour Division to use all its tools conducting civil investigations to enforce labor protections provided by the visa program. I mean, they do S2A, S2B, they take care of everything, not only H-1B. Directing the department's Employment and Training Administration to develop proposed changes to the labor condition application, which I already talked about. So they want to add this end client side, who is going to control, who is the supervisor, that kind of information. And for the division to review their investigative reforms to better identify systematic violations and potential fraud and provide greater transparency for agency personnel, U.S. workers, and the general public. Directing the division ETA and the Office of the Solicitor to coordinate the administration and enforcement activities. Establishing a working group made up of senior leadership from ETA. So like this, each department is moving forward with their own plan of action, which is going to result on much more increased scrutiny with the LCA and the H-1B program originating from the DOL Ways and Hour. This is given in June. July, August, September, I think they're still in the phase of implementation at the DOL. So once this phase is over, they're going to be much more aggressive. Right now, we're dealing with FTNS most of the time. DOL is still very quiet. They're not too much active. But looking at this Trump executive order and the Acosta's memo to the Labor Department, it looks cloudy. So that's one thing we want to be mindful. So do you want to do anything associated with the DOL? You want to make sure have a up-to-date public access files, review payrolls, check their W-2s, check their LCAs, match it in, make a spreadsheet, and if there is any discrepancy or shortfall on the W-2 amount, you justify. Put the appropriate paperwork in the file so you have a defense mechanism in place. So that was, then October 20, right? DHS, USCIS needs a better approach to verify H-1B visa participants. October 20. So they announced this. USCIS site visits provides minimal assurance that the H-1B visa participants are complained, not engaged in fraudulent activity. These visits assess whether petitions and beneficiaries comply with the applicable immigration laws and regulations. So they are also trying to tell these FDNS site visit officers, the thing you are doing is nonsense. Nothing is that effective. So you need to be doing much more work on an FDNS site. So they're pushing the FDNS also. Labor Department is being pushed under the same pretext originating from the executive order. Buy American, hire American. Now we have one more. USCIS updates policy to ensure petitioners meet burden of proof for non-immigrant worker extension petitions. You see. Now the burden of proof is assigned to the petitioner or the person seeking the immigration benefit. Under the updated policy guidelines, USCIS is instructing its officers to apply the same level of scrutiny to both initial petitions and extensions requests for certain non-immigrant visa categories. The guidance applies to nearly all non-immigrant classification filed using Form I-129, or everybody, including H1, L1, E2, E3, E1, O1, of the TN if you're locally filing here. Anybody who is using TN, I mean the I-129, is subject to this protocol. As before, adjudicators must thoroughly review the petition and supporting evidence to determine eligibility of the benefit sought. So that's not a new thing. But in their 2004 USCIS memo, it had granted a lenient attitude in adjudicating the transfer, extension, amendment type of petition for all non-immigrant visa categories utilizing this I-129 form. But this protocol, which was introduced, of course, in the Republican administration, George Bush was the president in 2004, right? So under the Bush administration, continued under Obama administration and ended under Trump administration recently. So now, each time you file an H-1B petition or any I-129 form, it will be much more scrutinized if it is a new application.